There are moments in history when technology does not simply improve life, but reshapes the entire foundation of society. When steam engines were invented, we entered the industrial age. When the internet connected the world, humanity stepped into a digital revolution. Now, we stand before yet another turning point, one that is no longer just about data or computers, but about how value itself is created, exchanged, and owned. This turning point is blockchain, a word that, even a decade ago, felt unfamiliar to most people, yet today carries the potential to redefine global finance, business, creativity, and identity. And right in the middle of this new frontier stands a generation like no other, the young. What makes this moment extraordinary is not merely that blockchain exists, but that it exists so early. We are in the era where everything is still forming. Standards are not fixed. Rules are still flexible. Opportunities are still abundant. It's like witnessing the earliest days of the internet, when websites were simple HTML pages and Google had not yet been born. Back then, a handful of people who believed in the vision of a connected world built the foundations of the digital landscape we take for granted today. Today, blockchain and Web3 are in that same infancy, raw, chaotic, full of potential. Many people see it and hesitate. Young people, instead, often see it and ask, how do I get in? The world is changing faster than any of us expected. 10 years ago, few imagined cryptocurrencies would become a global phenomenon. Now Bitcoin is discussed in universities, on news channels, and in government meetings. NFTs turned JPEGs into multi-million dollar assets. Smart contracts allow entire financial systems to run without a bank. Decentralized social platforms challenge the idea of centralized authority. The shift is not subtle, it is loud, disruptive, and impossible to ignore. And in this kind of shift, the young have a unique advantage. They are not just observers of change, they are participants, builders, and often pioneers. Older generations grew up in a world of paperwork, physical offices, and slowly evolving industries. Many of them built their careers on stability and experience accumulated over decades. But blockchain is not a domain where 20 years of experience guarantees success. It is a domain where curiosity, adaptability, and the willingness to explore unknown territory matter more. A 15-year-old learning Solidity today might build something revolutionary before they even finish college. A group of teenagers in a bedroom might create a protocol that the world will rely on tomorrow. It sounds exaggerated, but history has shown this pattern repeatedly. Microsoft began in a garage. Facebook was created in a dorm room. Ethereum was envisioned by a 19-year-old. Innovation does not ask how old you are. It asks how bold you are. Young people grew up with smartphones in their hands, with YouTube replacing textbooks, with games teaching them strategy, collaboration, and digital ownership long before NFTs existed. They navigate Discord servers as naturally as breathing. They understand memes, online culture, viral patterns, elements that are surprisingly powerful in crypto communities. In the blockchain space, culture is currency. Attention is liquidity. A fresh idea shared with the right audience can burst into global awareness overnight. The young understand this language intuitively. This era is not just technological, it is cultural. It is a movement toward decentralization, transparency, and empowerment. For decades, power was concentrated in banks, governments, and corporations. Blockchain challenges that system by giving ownership back to individuals. It enables a world where a wallet can act as identity, a token as governance, and code as the foundation of trust. To older minds, this concept is unfamiliar and sometimes threatening. But to younger minds, born in the age of digital freedom, it feels natural, almost obvious. Why should one institution control everything? Why can't value flow freely, peer-to-peer, without permission? For the young, these are not philosophical questions. They are the beginning of a vision. It is fascinating to witness how quickly the youth embrace change. While some view crypto as speculation, many young people see it as a canvas, a place to build, experiment, and create something with impact. A teenager learning about blockchain is not merely learning technology. They are learning about economics, security, community building, creativity, law, and global collaboration, all at once. It is education by immersion, not instruction. The young do not wait for permission to innovate. They learn as they go, fail fast, improve faster. We are living in a time where barriers to entry are lower than ever. You do not need a corporate title to contribute. You do not need a resume to join a project. The blockchain world cares about what you can do, not what is written on your degree. If you build a tool, write a paper, or contribute code to GitHub, the world can see it instantly. If you create art, launch a token, or propose an idea, someone across the ocean might believe in it. A generation once told to gain experience first now finds themselves in a landscape where initiative matters more than experience itself. The blockchain revolution is not waiting for anyone to grow older. It is unfolding now, messy, unpredictable, but incredibly promising. And it offers a rare kind of opportunity, one that only appears a few times in history. The young, with their energy, flexibility, and digital intuition, are positioned at the very front of this wave. They are not merely future leaders of blockchain. They are leaders already forming today. This is the new playground, a global arena where ideas become products, dreams become protocols, creativity becomes value. A place where youth is not a disadvantage to overcome, but an advantage to be proud of. The question is no longer whether the young have a place in blockchain. The question is whether they realize the power of the moment they are living in and whether they are ready to claim it. If there is one defining trait that separates young people from every other generation, it is their willingness to learn without fear. They do not ask for guarantees before starting. They do not wait for a perfect roadmap or hesitate because something feels too new. Instead, they jump in, experiment, break things, learn, repair, repeat. In the world of blockchain, where everything changes weekly, where a concept that is breakthrough today can be outdated 3 months later, this mindset is not just helpful, it is critical. Older professionals often carry the weight of established knowledge. They think in terms of stability and risk management, strategies that served them well in traditional industries. But blockchain is not a stable river. It is a rapidly shifting ocean. It rewards flexibility and punishes hesitation. For many youths, change is not discomfort. It is a norm. They grew up updating apps weekly, switching platforms when one becomes boring, adapting instantly to new interfaces, games, jokes, cultural pulses. They were shaped in an environment that evolves as fast as their minds do. To them, learning a new tool or concept is not an interruption. It feels like evolution. And education itself has changed. Knowledge used to be locked behind universities, expensive certifications, or professional mentorship. Today, it lives freely on YouTube channels, in Discord threads, in open-source GitHub repositories, in X posts from developers sharing breakthroughs in real time. A teenager can learn zero-knowledge proofs from a recorded conference talk while eating dinner. A college freshman can experiment with Solidity through online tutorials and deploy their first smart contract before finishing a programming course in school. In Web3, there are no gatekeepers standing at the door. The only key is curiosity. More importantly, young people are better at learning through doing. They do not simply read theory. They mint their first NFT, join a testnet campaign, farm airdrops, attend hackathons, build bots, trade tokens, fail, lose money, recover, and understand deeper the next time. Real experience teaches faster than lectures. The blockchain world is a live laboratory, and youth approach it like scientists of chaos, unafraid to mix chemicals that others warn about, because discovery often hides inside mistakes. Failure is not a tragedy to them. It is a tutorial. When an older investor loses money in crypto, they may swear never to return. When a young trader loses money, they might laugh, screenshot the chart as a meme, and try again tomorrow with a better strategy. This emotional resilience and ability to recover quickly becomes a massive advantage in a highly volatile environment. The ones who rise in blockchain are rarely the ones who never fell. They are the ones who stand up faster than they fall down. Youth also excel at learning horizontally. They absorb multiple skill sets simultaneously. In Web3, you might need a bit of coding knowledge one day, some marketing instincts the next, and community management the day after. Young minds are comfortable switching between fields without feeling overwhelmed. They are multidimensional thinkers, shaped by the internet's endless stream of information. When they encounter something new, they don't ask, "Why should I learn this?" but rather, "What can I do with this?" That question opens doors, and behind all of this is creativity, a kind of creativity unburdened by how things used to work. older systems taught people to follow rules, respect hierarchy, and avoid risk. Blockchain rewards those who redefine rules, flatten hierarchies, and dare to break molds. Young people naturally question authority. They challenge old assumptions. Why must a bank control my money? Why should data belong to corporations? Why can't ownership be shared? These questions are not rebellion, they are innovation. In the decentralized world, ideas spread like wildfire. A thought posted on social media can spark a movement. A line of code can birth a new protocol. A simple story or meme can bring thousands of users to a project. Youth understand virality. They speak the native language of the internet: humor, storytelling, collective excitement. They know how to create hype, how to gather communities, how to turn strangers into believers. And blockchain thrives on communities, not customers, but believers who contribute, vote, build, and grow the ecosystem together. This creates a unique phenomenon. In Web3, knowledge compounds. The more you learn, the easier it becomes to learn more. The more you build, the more communities you join. Each project leads to another. Each skill enhances the next. A young person entering blockchain today may start by joining a Telegram group. A month later, they might moderate discussions, then research tokenomics, then help shape a project roadmap. They evolve quickly because the environment itself rewards evolution. Adaptability is no longer merely an advantage, it is a survival skill. Protocols upgrade, narratives shift, technology pivots, regulations appear. Those who cling to old patterns fall behind. Those who move with the tide discover treasure others left untouched. Young people are comfortable living in beta. They accept imperfections, experiment anyway, and sometimes become the ones to fix them. They treat uncertainty not as a threat, but as possibility. Think about what that means. The future of finance, art, ownership, governance, all of it is still a blueprint. The world is asking, who wants to help design it? Youth raise their hands first, not because they know everything, but because they believe they can learn anything. And in this industry, belief is fuel. It pushes you through confusion, late-night debugging, market crashes, and idea failures, until eventually, breakthrough arrives. In the blockchain era, the young are not just digital natives. They are transformation natives. Rapid change is their home turf. They do not merely adapt to the new era, they accelerate it. The next part will explore how this mindset translates into real opportunities and careers, how young people can build, work, innovate, and even start global projects without waiting for permission. Walk into any conversation about blockchain and you will notice something unusual. People are not talking about a single profession or a narrow field. They are talking about an ecosystem, one that stretches across technology, finance, art, law, gaming, social communities, entertainment, and culture. It is not an industry, it is a universe. And within that universe, opportunities appear like stars in the night sky. Countless, diverse, each shining differently for each person. For young people, this is not merely a chance to find a career. It is a chance to build one. Some will step into the technical side. Blockchain developers are the architects of this new world. They write smart contracts that move billions of dollars. They design protocols where no bank is needed, no permission required. They explore cryptography, consensus mechanisms, scalability solutions. A 20-year-old learning Rust or Solidity today might write code that becomes infrastructure used globally tomorrow. In traditional software, you build features. In blockchain, you build systems. Entire economies can depend on your lines of code, but not every young person needs to be a programmer. The beauty of Web3 is that it values contribution, not labels. Analysts study token models, track markets, evaluate projects, identify vulnerabilities. Designers craft interfaces that simplify the complexity of crypto for everyday users. Community managers nurture global audiences, moderate discussions, build trust and excitement. Content creators turn abstract concepts into stories and tutorials. Researchers dive into cryptography, game theory, economic incentives. People who once thought, "I'm not technical enough," suddenly find themselves shaping the future through writing, communication, creativity, and vision. And then there are the builders, the dreamers who start projects from scratch. In Web3, a startup doesn't require a skyscraper office or millions in funding. It can begin with two friends brainstorming in a dorm room. It can grow through hackathons, grants, DAOs, and open source collaboration. Imagine a world where your idea receives funding, not because of your age or network, but because a community believes in your vision. Blockchain makes that possible. In fact, it encourages it. Vitalik Buterin was 19 when he wrote the Ethereum white paper. Many founders of top crypto protocols were in their early 20s. Age did not restrict them because innovation does not care about age. It cares about insight, persistence, and timing. And right now, the timing is perfect. We are at the beginning of something enormous, a foundational layer of the future. The main highways are not built yet. The biggest companies do not exist yet. The most transformative apps are still unimagined. Young people are stepping in at the moment where the world still has wet cement. Every footprint leaves a mark. For many, the first step into blockchain is small. Maybe they trade tokens and learn about volatility. Maybe they join a Discord group and learn how communities form. Maybe they contribute translations, moderate chats, write articles, create memes, record tutorials. What starts as curiosity becomes involvement. Involvement becomes skill. Skill becomes value. Value becomes opportunity. And suddenly, a hobby turns into a career. Web3 flips the traditional career ladder. Instead of spending years proving yourself to earn trust, here you earn trust by doing. You show your work publicly, on-chain or online. When you contribute code to GitHub, the world sees your commits. When you design NFTs, people collect your art. When you write threads explaining DeFi, strangers learn from you. Reputation becomes transparent, measurable, and borderless. You don't need permission to start. You simply start. A young person sitting in a small town with nothing but a laptop can collaborate with a team in Singapore, raise funds from investors in Dubai, hire designers from Argentina, and release a product used by people in Europe, all within months. Geography dissolves, credentials shrink, merit rises. Blockchain is not just decentralizing technology. It is decentralizing opportunity. And because this industry is so young, there is no single path. Some people become experts in on-chain analytics, others become DAO coordinators. Some learn smart contract security and audit code for vulnerabilities. Some study tokenomics and help design incentive systems. Some launch gaming guilds. Some create educational YouTube channels. Some mint NFTs that define culture. Some build tools no one knew they needed until they existed. And then everyone wonders how they lived without them. Every talent has a place here. Every curiosity has a door waiting to be opened. The question is not whether there is room for young people. The question is which room they want to walk into, or whether they want to build a room of their own. For some, the ultimate dream is financial freedom. Blockchain can offer that, though not without risk and responsibility. For others, the dream is to innovate, to be part of something that matters, something that will be remembered. To look back one day and say, I was there when it began. There is a thrill in that, a sense of purpose beyond salary or job title. The future is being written in real time, and youth have the pen in their hands. Still, opportunity alone is not enough. It must be paired with courage, curiosity, and the willingness to learn. It must be supported by community, collaboration, and long-term vision. Yet for those who are ready, who are willing, who are hungry, this era may be the most empowering moment in history to be young. And so the story unfolds. The young learn fast, adapt fast, move fast. They find opportunities not by waiting, but by building. They do not ask for seats at the table. They build new tables. And soon, they invite the world to join. In the next section, we will explore something even more powerful: how the spirit of community, collaboration, and shared belief drives Web3, and why the young are uniquely suited to lead this cultural revolution. If technology is the backbone of blockchain, then community is its heartbeat. Code can build a protocol, but community gives it life. Without a community, a token is just text on a blockchain. Without people believing in an idea, even the most innovative project fades into silence. This is why Web3 is not merely a technological movement. It is a social movement, one built through shared ownership, transparency, and collaboration. And it is precisely in this space that young people shine brightest. Look at how online culture works today. Trends begin on social media, fueled by creativity, humor, and relatability. One meme can spread faster than mainstream news. A single viral post can turn an obscure project into the center of global attention overnight. Who understands this world intimately? The youth, They were born inside it. They know how communities form, how conversations spread, how culture evolves. They instinctively know when to post, what tone resonates, what ideas spark hype. This intuition is not taught, it is lived. Web3 thrives on this cultural rhythm. Unlike traditional companies with strict hierarchies and formal communication, blockchain projects are often run like digital tribes. There are DAO voting rooms where decisions are made collectively. There are Discord channels buzzing with energy at midnight. There are hackathons where strangers from different time zones stay awake for days to build something just because they believe in it. Young people do not see this as work. They see it as belonging. It is like joining a guild in a game, except the game is real, and the rewards can change lives. In Web3 communities, no one asks about your age before they ask what you can contribute. A 17-year-old who writes insightful analysis is respected more than a 40-year-old with no skin in the game. A young designer who creates a viral NFT collection becomes a leader overnight. A student who organizes local meetups or runs educational threads on X can shape narratives that guide thousands. Authority in Web3 is earned, not granted. It is fluid, dynamic, and open, a perfect environment for young minds unafraid of stepping forward. The culture of open source strengthens this further. Traditional industries guard information behind patents and corporate walls. In blockchain, knowledge is meant to flow. Smart contract code is public. Ideas are forked, improved, remixed. A young developer can study protocols built by the best minds in the world just by opening a repository. They can learn from real-world systems, not textbook simulations. They can propose upgrades, contribute to governance, fix bugs that millions depend on. When they do, the community notices. This openness fosters collaboration instead of competition. It invites young people to think beyond personal gain and consider collective value. When a DAO succeeds, its members succeed together. When a protocol grows, token holders grow with it. Web3 shifts the mindset from how do I benefit to how do we build something beneficial for everyone? And that shared vision is magnetic, especially to a generation that values freedom and impact over rigid career ladders. Young people tend to organize naturally around things they love: music, games, memes, optimism. In crypto, these passions become engines. A meme coin can unite a million believers. A digital art movement can birth new creative economies. A simple GM culture can build global friendships. Youth know how to turn digital expression into social momentum, and social momentum in the blockchain world often becomes real capital. Yet, it is not all chaos. There is structure woven into this spontaneity. Community moderators enforce fairness. Developers ship updates based on feedback. Researchers write governance proposals. Writers craft narratives that bring clarity to complex ideas. Creators host spaces, live streams, podcasts. Even jokes on crypto Twitter sometimes carry serious discussions about decentralization, privacy, and the philosophy of ownership. It is a world where intelligence and creativity mingle freely, where a funny meme might coexist beside a deep analysis of roll-up scaling. And perhaps most important of all, Web3 gives young people a voice. In traditional institutions, youth are often asked to wait to graduate, wait to be promoted, wait to be experienced enough. But blockchain says the opposite. If you contribute, you belong now. If you build, you lead now. If you have an idea, you can launch it now. There is no permission required. This empowerment is electric. It sparks confidence. It encourages experimentation. It tells young people that the future is not something they inherit. It is something they shape. They are not passengers in this technological revolution. They are drivers. They are founders. They are creators of culture and stewards of the decentralized dream. And when thousands of young individuals bring their energy into one ecosystem, movements happen. NFT waves form. Layer 2 solutions rise. GameFi booms. Even bear markets become periods of growth as communities stay, build, and innovate together. The world outside may see speculation, but inside Web3, what truly moves the space forward is passion. Passion to build a new internet where users own what they create. This passion is what blends technology with humanity. It turns code into culture. It transforms projects into revolutions. It shows that blockchain is not only about money, it is about identity, creativity, voice, opportunity. And no generation understands the power of those values more deeply than the young. With the foundation set, the mindset, the opportunities, the community, we arrive at something more personal. Because beyond logic and economics, there is heart, there is vision, there is the very human experience of stepping into a new world. In the final part, we will dive into a personal reflection, imagining ourselves as young people in this moment, feeling the excitement, the fear, the hope, and the fire. A message not just of technology, but of purpose. Sometimes I imagine myself standing at the edge of this new world, not as someone looking back with experience, but as a young person standing at the beginning. No heavy history behind me, no rigid frameworks forcing me to think in one direction. Just curiosity, fire, and a laptop glowing in the dark of my room. Outside, the world sleeps. But online, the blockchain universe is awake, alive, buzzing with opportunity. And I think to myself, if I were young today, how would I step into this revolution? I would feel excitement first, the kind that races in the chest when you know you're witnessing something rare, like hearing the first whispers of the internet in the 90s, like watching the first smartphone appear. Blockchain feels like that same kind of beginning, a door just cracked open, showing only a hint of the future behind it. If I were young, I wouldn't just peek through. I would push it wide. But excitement is never alone. It comes with doubt, with questions, with fear. What if I fail? What if I don't understand enough? What if this is just a wave that disappears? These thoughts are real, natural, human. Yet when I think of youth, I remember that failure cuts less deeply when your story is just starting. A mistake is not a scar, it is a lesson, and blockchain rewards those who learn fast, fall forward, get up again. If I were young in this era, I would be hungry, not just for money, though crypto can make fortunes, but hungry to understand, to explore, to find where I fit. I'd read white papers like others read novels. I'd join Discord servers, not just to watch, but to speak, to ask, to help. I'd break things in test nets, lose tokens in mistakes, laugh, try again, get better. I'd celebrate small wins, my first smart contract deployed, my first NFT minted, my first contribution merged into a repo. Each achievement, no matter how tiny, would be a brick in the foundation of something greater. I would remind myself that no one masters blockchain overnight. The people who build this space were once beginners too. They also struggled with private keys, gas fees, cryptography, forks, consensus. They grew because they stayed. If I were young, I would stay. I would commit not for a week, not for a season, but for years. Long enough to evolve as the technology evolves, because revolutions reward the ones who stand through storms. Sometimes I picture waking up 5 or 10 years from now, not as someone who missed the wave, but as someone who rode it. Someone who built, contributed, learned. Someone who looks back and says, I didn't just watch blockchain happen, I was part of it. That thought alone feels like fuel. And beyond opportunity, beyond business, beyond capital, blockchain represents something deeply human. The shift of power from the few to the many. A world where ownership is shared, where identity is digital yet sovereign, where creativity is rewarded directly, where borders blur and talent becomes currency. This is not just technology, it's a chance to redesign how value flows through society. And if I were young, I would want to be there, not at the finish line, but in the messy, beautiful construction of the road itself. Because youth is more than age. It is energy. It is rebellion against limits. It is belief in possibility. And blockchain needs that belief. It needs dreamers who say, why not, instead of, is this allowed? It needs voices fresh enough to challenge the old system without fear. It needs builders who see freedom not as a slogan, but as a blueprint. If I were young, I wouldn't wait for permission or perfection. I would start. I would start with what I have, no matter how small. I'd learn Solidity basics, even if I don't understand everything at first. I'd try making content explaining concepts in my own words. I'd experiment with test projects, join meetups, DM builders I admire, volunteer in DAOs, offer help before asking for opportunities. Because in Web3, value returns to those who create it. And I would treat this path as a journey, not a race. Some days would be thrilling. A project succeeds, a post goes viral, a grant is approved. Other days would be heavy. Markets crash, code breaks, scams appear. But youth has resilience, and blockchain has cycles. Winter comes, but spring always follows. Builders endure. So if I were young today, I would choose to believe that this moment is special, Not because it guarantees success, but because it offers possibility. True, open, global possibility. A chance not only to earn, but to build, to shape culture, to define what the future of ownership, value, identity, community will look like. And that possibility is a gift. Maybe years from now, the world will look at blockchain the way we now look at the early internet, amazed that so few understood its potential at first, and grateful for those who did. In that future, I would want to say, with pride, I was there. I took the leap. And if you are young today, perhaps that story could be yours. You don't need to have all the answers to begin. You just need the courage to start.